All right, so I want you to mark your question answer yourself, and then uh, so that you can see how well you did, and maybe compare later with your actual test marks. Okay, so your test marks has uh, already been keyed in the system, and maybe will be released. I don't know, maybe today or tomorrow. Okay, so we will discuss starting from question A, 1A. All right, so one of the most potentially beneficial applications of an automotive control system is the active control of the suspension system. One feedback control system shown in figure 1 uses a shock absorber consisting of a cylinder filled with a compressible fluid that provides both spring and damping forces. The cylinder has a plunger activated by a gear motor, a displacement measuring sensor, and a piston. Spring force is generated by piston displacement, which compresses the fluid. During piston displacement, the pressure unbalance across the piston is used to control damping. The plunger varies the internal volume of the cylinder. So question 1, draw the block diagram of the system. Identify the output, the input, output, and all the signals. Okay, so most of you got this question correct. So what you need to do is you need to identify all the elements of control system in this figure. Okay, so here you have gear motor, controller, piston. So gear motor, controller, and piston are your subsystem together with the sensor. So the sensor just now is displacement measuring sensor. Okay, displacement measuring sensor. So here your input will be tak ada kat sini. So input will be input piston displacement. Most of you answer piston travel, input piston travel or desired piston travel. So acceptable. But if you write input piston displacement, is also okay. And the output will be output piston displacement or output or actual piston travel. Okay. So when you identified all the elements, then you can draw the block diagram. Okay, so we start with the input. So the input will be input piston displacement. And then followed by a signal, and then going through a summing junction. And then after that, it will go into the controller. So controller, and then gear motor. And then piston. And then it will leave with an output output piston displacement. And then this is a closed loop system, and you have sensor mentioned in the paragraph. So you must have a feedback loop. Okay. So the feedback loop is sensor, and then a signal going back. Okay, so here you can put plus or minus. Okay, doesn't matter. So for this question, if you have summing junction, you get 1 mark. If you have sensor, 1 mark. And controller, 1 mark. Gear motor, 1 mark. Piston, 1 mark. And then input piston displacement, another mark. And lastly is the output. Okay, so if you have all of this, then you get 7 marks. Okay, 7 marks for question A1. Question 1, A1. Okay. All right. Any question for this one? So far, I think everyone got this correct. Maybe some of you, I think most of you, I think all of you already know about putting summing junction for closed loop. Okay. Maybe some of you got this wrong by not specify the subsystem, like controller, gear motor, piston. Maybe you put something else. Okay. But I think so far everyone should get this 7 marks. Okay. All right. And then we move on to question number 2. So question number 2, based on the question AI or A1 means this one, determine the transfer function of the system if equation for each subsystem is 5. So the question here already give you clues that each subsystem has value 5. So you need to calculate the transfer function when each subsystem equals 5. Okay, so you know that this is so the top one is cascade, and this part will be your feedback. So maybe you can write the answer by saying that transfer function maybe you put TS equals. So the question says each subsystem equals 5, meaning that each of this block has value 5. Okay, so you can straight away calculate the transfer function TS equals, so the top one is cascade, so 5 times 5 times 5 divided by 1 plus 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So you know that for feedback you have this formula, G divided by 1 plus G times H. Okay, so you just substitute value 5 into this formula. Okay, so after you calculate this, simplify this into 125 divided by 626. Dah tutup screen.
Your mic is turned off.
And then you get 0.99. Okay. So for this question, you get 1 mark if you know that this is 1 to 5 and this is 6 to 6. Another mark. And final answer, 1 more mark. Okay. So 3 marks all.
Sir,
Hmm?
kalau buat equation je tak boleh markah?
Saya rasa tak ada markah, tapi soalan ni Sir Azri yang tanda. Saya tak tahu dia bagi markah macam mana. Tapi kalau ikutkan skema dia tak ada markah untuk equation saja.
Oh, so bila sub value baru dapat
Baru dapat markah.
markah.
Sub value baru ada markah. Okay, so this question overall is 10 marks. Okay, so most of you knows how to answer question A1, but A2 I think only few, very very few of you, maybe one or two. Some of you knows it's 1 to 5 on top and don't know 6 to 6 on the bottom here. Okay. Okay, now we move on to question number 2. Question 1B, sorry. All right, so question 1B. So a wind turbine where the blade has transformed the wind speed to a rotating shaft called theta 1 is shown in figure 2. Determine the transfer function for the system at the end shaft leading to a generator GS theta 6 over T. So the question wants you to find theta 6 over T. And since this has gears, so you need to transfer the impedance to this section because T and theta 6 is on this section. So you must transfer all of this, the impedance from these gears to this section. Okay, and then okay, let's look at how to calculate the impedance. So firstly, we look at the J, okay, the inertia. So first, we have J4 here. So J4 is already on this section. So you just add J4 to J5. Okay, so the equivalent J, first JE will be J4 plus J5. And then J3 here, you must multiply with gear ratio. So the gear ratio is N4 over N3 square. N4 over N3 square. So plus J3 N4 over N3 square. And then J2 here is on this shaft. So you need to multiply with the gear ratio on this gear ratio, okay? So it also multiply with N4 over N3. So plus J2 N4 over N3 square. And then lastly J1 here. So J1 here you must multiply the gears 2 times. So multiply with N2 over N1 square and then N4 over N3 square. So plus J1 N2 over N1 square times N4 over N3 square. So if you have all of these value here, you get 2 marks. So sometimes you miss J4, for example. So if you miss 1, you get 1 mark only. Or sometimes you put power of 3 instead of power of 2, you get 1 mark. And if you put n3 over n4, you also get 1 mark. Okay, then you need to transfer the damper. So here you have damper D, and you need to transfer 2 more dampers. So the first damper here, and another one is here. So the equivalent damper is D, this D, plus this D times the gear ratio. So D times N4 over N3 square. And plus this gear, this damper. So plus D times N2 over N1 square times N4 over N3 square. Okay, so this one also 2 marks. So same with JE. If you miss this D, for example, you get 1 mark. If you put power of 3, for example, you mistakenly put power of 3, 1 mark. If you reverse this, N3 over N4, 1 mark, okay? If all of these are wrong, let's say you put this totally wrong, bagilah 0 dekat diri sendiri, okay? Put 0 for yourself. Okay?
Doktor,
Yeah.
kan kalau kan doktor letak D kan, kalau first tu saya letak D 4, salah juga.
D4 kat sini.
Saya letak D 4, tak letak D.
Because Sir Azri yang marking, okay? So Sir Azri marks this question. I don't know what he will give. I think he still gives you some marks, maybe 1 mark or maybe 0, tak tahu. Maybe 0 kot.
Dia sebab
Sebab terletak 4, 0 lah.
sebab dia dekat shelf nombor 4, so saya letaklah D 4.
Dia bukan
Ada
Sebab
bukan
dia-
saja-saja bukan saja letak saja, kita nak bagi nak beza dua kat
beza
mana,
kan?
empat kat mana.
Maybe
tak nak
tolak
confuse.
kot. Maybe
So nak
satu
tanda macam mana ni? Nak letak 1 ke kosong ke?
letak kosong lah. Satu. Letak 1 lah sebab saya rasa you still get this correct, like N4 over N3. So maybe this section correct, maybe the values of D are wrong, okay? Maybe 1 mark lah, okay? Tak apa, dah tanda pun. Just nak tengok je korang nanti korang compare balik korang puas hati ke tak dengan markah yang dapat, okay? Alright, so lastly is your spring. So the spring here you must transfer the impedance, okay? So this spring you must multiply with gear ratio N4 over N3 to bring it to this section. So for the spring, KE equals K1 times N4 over N3 square. So this is also 2 marks, okay? So some of you are at K2. So after calculate K1 times N4 over N3 square and then plus K2. So plus K2 I think 0 terus, no marks, okay? And if you reverse N3 over N4, you get 1 mark. If you put power of 3, for example, you get 1 mark. Okay, so after you calculate the effective impedance, Okay, sir, yang kita tanda ni nak kena submit ke? Submit, okay. Submit before Sunday and submit together with tomorrow, okay. Tomorrow we will discuss about your quiz and your mock test. So you submit together all of them in one email. All right, so after you calculate the effective impedance J, D, and K, then you can redraw the system to make sure you are not confused. Okay, so redraw. So here becomes a wall connected to damper and spring. So the damper here, the value is DE, the spring is KE, and your shaft becomes JE. And then this is connected to another damper. So this damper is from here and also connected to spring K2. And this is J6 and another damper here. So theta 6 is here and torque. Okay, so after you redraw the system, you can draw the free body diagram, or you can straight away write the equation of motions. Okay, because there is no marks for free body diagram in this question. So to make sure that you are not confused, you can draw the free body diagram. But if you are confident, you can straight away write the equation of motions. Okay, so I will write the equation of motion. Okay, so first we evaluate this shaft. So this shaft has no degree of freedom, so you give your own degree of freedom. So maybe we define theta E here. So for the first shaft, you have JE theta E double dot plus DE plus D theta E dot and plus KE plus K2 theta E. And then minus these two elements because these two are connected to theta 6. So minus D theta 6 dot plus K2 theta 6 equals 0. And then you write in terms of frequency. So JES squared plus DE plus DS plus KE plus K2 theta E minus DS plus K2 theta 6 equals 0. So if you have these two equations, you get 3 marks. So let's say you put negative here. Maybe you forgot to put the bracket, for example. You miss the bracket. So you minus yourself 1 mark. Some of you put negative here, bracket, and then another negative. So minus 1 mark. Some of you put theta 6 here, theta E here. So if you switch around theta 6 and theta E, 0 marks, okay? Tak ada markah langsung. But let's say you get this wrong, but the bottom one is correct, for example, bagilah separuh, okay? Half, 1.5. Okay, so this is the first equation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kalau kita buat equation yang bawah saja, kita terus sub S square dengan S tu, yang atas tak buat, nak bagi berapa markah?
Kalau bawah je 2 markah. Atas ni kira 1 markah. So the top one is 1 mark, the bottom one is 2 marks, okay? Okay. So for the second equation, for theta 6, so you have J6 theta 6 double dot plus, oh this is T, sorry. So plus 2D theta 6 dot plus K2 theta 6 minus D theta E dot plus K2 theta E equals T. So you can write this in terms of frequency. So it will become J6S square plus 2ds plus K2 theta 6 minus ds plus K2 theta E equals T. Okay, same marks, 3 marks. So if you have, let's say you forgot the top one, minus 1 mark. So if you mistakenly write this positive, for example, so minus 1 mark, okay? So same as the previous one. Okay, and then the question asks you to calculate theta 6 over t. So theta 6 over t, so you can write this equation in terms of matrix. Okay, and then you use Cramer's rule, but if you write in terms of matrix, no marks. Okay, that is just working jalan kerja, okay, workflow. Okay, and then you can calculate theta 6 over t. So meaning that you need to calculate theta 6. So theta 6 equals the determinant of um, JE s squared plus DE plus DS plus KE plus K2 minus DS plus K2. So here is 0 and T. And then divided by the determinant of the original matrix. Okay, so if you have this theta 6 in terms of determinant using Cramer's rule, you get 2 marks, okay? So let's say in your determinant, for example, here you put negative and then insert also negative, minus 1 mark. Let's say suddenly it's supposed to be plus, but you put negative, okay? Minus 1 mark lagi. Let's say here you put theta suddenly, theta 6. So minus 1 mark. Minus saja kerja dia, okay? Okay, so if you have determinant in this form, in this theta 6 in determinant form, you get 2 marks, okay? And then if you simplify the final answer, you get 1 more mark. So theta 6 over t is equals to JE s squared plus DE plus DS plus KE plus K2 divided by JE s squared plus DE plus DS plus KE plus K2 times J6S squared plus 2DS plus K2 minus DS plus K2 squared. Okay. So if you don't have the final answer, or let's say your final answer minus here, you put plus, no marks, okay? No marks for the final answer. So final answer must be minus ds plus K2 squared.
Sorry sir lambat.
Tak apa.
Begak lu tadi. Sorry.
Tak payah cakap.
Okay. Saya mute lah.
Habis orang dengar kantoi.
Tak tahan. Makan durian tak tahan.
Aduh, ni live kat YouTube kot. Aduh. Okay, so for this question, the total is 15 marks. So you can total up your own score. So most of you can answer this question. Okay, so we move on to question number 2. Okay, any question so far for this one? Okay, if you have no question, we move on to question number 2.
Sir,
Yep.
apa ni, kalau yang buat equation theta E tu tak ada markah. Kalau kita
Theta
buat,
E.
ha,
Cari theta E. Tak ada. Buat apa? Dia tak nak.
okay.
Terima kasih kerana buat. Kerana menghabiskan masa. Sir, tak payah ganti balik JE tu. Tak payah. Sebab kita dah kira kat atas. Nak ganti balik dia jadi panjang nanti. Tak payah ganti balik, okay? So just write like this, okay kot. Nak ganti balik dia akan jadi panjang lah. Jadi macam membazir masa je tulis. Tapi kalau dalam exam dia bagi values, for example like dia bagi J4 berapa, J5 berapa, let's say some values for J4, J5, K1, all these, and then N berapa. Only if they provide values, then you need to substitute all the values into the equation and then find the final transfer function. So JE tu tak termasuk J5 sekali. Ada J5? Yeah. Okay, so J5 plus J4, okay? Alright, so we move on to question number 2. Okay, so question number 2. So consider the translational mechanical system in figure 2. Figure 2? Figure 3, okay, silap. Where there are 4 pistons, positions. X in is an input displacement. X1, X2, X3 are the degrees of freedom. And then the terms K1, K2, K3 are the spring constants. B1 is friction, so B1 here. And B2 is the damping constant, so B2 damper. M1, M2 are the masses. So question A, draw the free body diagram at position X1, X2, X3 showing all the forces involved. So the question already gives clue that there are 3 degree of freedom system, and meaning that you have 3 free body diagrams. So some of you only answer free body diagram for X1 and X3 and ignoring X2. Okay, and some of you maybe confused with the connections, okay, the spring. Okay, so let's see how to draw the free body diagram. So for X1, okay, so for X1 you have spring K1 and spring K2 connected to this box. So there are two forces acting backward. Okay. So first force is K1 X1 and second one is K2 X1. And then don't forget the inertia of the box. So you have one more force, M1 X1 double dot. And then you need to calculate the forces acting forward. So the first one is K2 connected to X2. Okay, so there is a force from X2. So the force will be K2 X2. And then the second force comes from your input displacement X in. So X in is connected to spring. So you must consider the force of the spring times X in. Okay, so the force will be K1 X in. So this is 3 marks. So let's say if you put only X in without K1, minus 1 mark. And let's say you put K2 X2, the direction is wrong. So you minus 1 mark. So let's say all of the directions are wrong, 0 mark. And let's say you forgot inertia, minus 1 mark. Let's say if you get only this section correct, and this section you put no force because you are confused or something, so you get only half marks, okay?
Sir, kalau dekat X in tu tak tulis K1, kena tolak ke?
Tolak satu markah. Ya.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh my god, sedihnya.
Okay sir, masa itu.
Okay. Okay, no K1 X in means only only X in minus 1 mark. So the answer is K1 X in. So if you put X in only, no marks. 1 mark, minus 1 mark. Okay, next is the second free body diagram for X2. Okay. So for X2, so on X2 you have spring K2, spring K3 and damper B2. 0.5 tak boleh ke? Tak. Okay, so you have K2, K3 and B2. So 3 forces acting backward. So the first one will be K2X2. Second one is K3X2. And third one is B2X2 dot. Okay, so let's say you forgot the dots, minus 0.5, okay? Let's say M1, X1, you put only 1 dot, or you put 3 dots. Okay, minus 0.5. Let's say B2, X2, you put 1 dot, you put, let's say, 2 dots, okay? Or you put no dots, minus 0.5. So if X1 you put, some of you put as A1, okay, representing acceleration, it's acceptable. Let's say X2 you put V2 representing velocity, acceptable, okay? And then you need to calculate, determine the forces acting forward. So K3 and B2 are connected to X3. So 2 forces by X3. So first one is K3 X3. And then second one is B2 X3 dot. And then the third one will be spring K2 by X1. So K2 X1. Okay, so this is also 3 marks. Okay, so some of you also write the answer like this, okay? So instead of doing forces separately, kx1, kx2. Some of you maybe do something like this, okay? Maybe m1. And then backward force, k1, x1 minus x in. And then maybe k2, x1 minus x2. And then m1, x1, double dot. So if you write like this, also acceptable, as long as the direction is correct. So let's say you put this direction backward. So if you put backward, you get -1 mark, okay? So if all the directions are incorrect, then 0 marks. Okay, so lastly is the free body diagram X3. So X3 is connected with spring K3 and B2, damper B2, and friction B1. So spring K3, K3 X3, damper B2 X3 dot, friction B1 X3 dot, and the inertia M2 X3 double dot. And then you need to look for these two elements because these two are also connected to X2. So it will produce forces acting forward. Okay, so the first one is K3 X2. K3 X2. And then second one is B2 X2 dot. Okay, so if you have all of this, then you get 3 marks. And same thing if you miss the dot, minus 0.5. If you have only this section only, minus, you get half, okay? Okay, so after you draw the free body diagram, then you can answer question 2B. So question 2B asks you to determine the equation of motion and write them in matrix form. Okay, so you can write the equation of motion. So for x1, you have m1 x1 double dot plus k1 plus k2 x1 minus k2 x2 equals k1 x in. And then you can write in x2 3 markah juga. Okay, so after you write in terms of time, then you can convert into frequency. So this becomes m1 s square plus k1 plus k2 x1 minus k2 x2 equals k1 x in. Okay, some of you here put x in the free body diagram, but suddenly in the equation k1 x in. Saya tak tahu mana datang k1 tiba-tiba. Saya tolak 1 markah. So sini tolak 1 markah, sini pun tolak 1 markah. Some of you buat cara yang unik. Diorang letak E. So some of you put FE for it. So FE instead of K1 X in. But I don't know what is FE. Doesn't indicate anywhere in the answer. I minus 1 mark. And some of you here no force, no K1 X in, but suddenly here have K1 X in or have X in, I minus 1 mark also. All right, and then this 2 is 1 mark, okay? And then we can write the equation of motion for,
Sir.
yeah.
Sir, kalau equation yang 1 mark tu kan, yang last kali saya buat tu, tak ada K1S in. Kosong ke? Ada S in je.
Kalau kat sini tak ada K1 X in, kalau if kat sini already X in, but you write
lepas
here
tu?
X in, tak ada tolak markah.
So
Yang
satu lah.
tolak kalau sini X in, sini kosong for example, sini X in, sini tak ada X in, tolak markah. Kalau sini X in, sini dah tolak dah, sini tak ada tolak dah.
Okay, so still dapat satu lah.
Okay. Dapat satu.
Right.
Okay, and then we write the equation of motion for free body diagram X2. So for free body diagram X2, you have minus K2 X1 plus B2 X2 dot plus K2 plus K3 X2 minus B2 X3 dot plus K3 X3 equals 0. Then you can write this in terms of frequency. So you get K2 X1 plus B2S plus K2 plus K3 X2 minus B2S plus K3 X3. So one more mark here. Okay, so let's say if you write straight away in terms of frequency, you forgot to write in terms of time, also 1 mark. Okay, so if you write in terms of frequency straight away, it's acceptable. Okay, and lastly, the equation for free body diagram X3. So for X3, so you have minus B2 X2 dot plus K3 X2 plus M2 X3 double dot plus B1 plus B2 X3 plus K3 X3 equals 0. And then you can write this in terms of frequency. So minus B2S plus K3 X2 plus M2S square B1 plus B2S plus K3. Okay, so here also 1 mark. Okay, and then you need to write this in terms of matrix. So you need to arrange them in matrix. So in matrix form, this will become M1 S square plus K1 plus K2 minus K2 0 minus K2 B2S plus K2 plus K3 minus B2S plus K3 0 minus B2S plus K3 M2S square plus B1 plus B2S plus K3. Okay, so some of you put here minus, but here no minus. Let's say you write B2S plus K3 only without minus. So I deduct 1 mark. Some of you put K1X in this 0 here, minus 1 mark. You forgot minus here. Maybe you put K2, minus 1 mark. Some of you make a 4x4 matrix, 0 marks for matrix. Doktor kalau tak ada K1 untuk X in untuk matrix tu, so if you have no K1 from here, from the free body diagram, in the equation no K1, and in the matrix no K1, I didn't deduct any mark, okay? But if you don't have K1 here, you have K1 here suddenly, I deduct 1 mark. And then K1 here again, I deduct another mark. Okay? So if you're consistent, I didn't deduct any mark. Pening. So kalau M1 tu tak ada 1, so M1 tak ada 1, minus 1 mark. So let's say M2S square, maybe you put M2S without S square, minus 1 mark. Because this, if you write this correctly, you get 3 marks, okay? If you expand this, let's say minus B2S minus K3, it's acceptable. Sekali je lah deduct untuk K1, tak ada untuk X in tu. Saya deduct dekat sini, saya deduct kat sini 2 kali lah. So kalau selalu kalau tak dekat matrix tak ada K1 dekat X in lah, soalan Syukran tadi. So kalau kat FBD letak K3 X3 tapi dekat equation careless letak K2 X3 minus 1 mark. Yes. So tadi kalau K1 dekat sini tak ada, dekat free body diagram tak ada K1, tapi dekat equation ni tak ada K1 juga. Kalau sini suddenly ada K1, tolak 1 markah. Kalau sini tak ada K1, sini tak ada K1, sini tak ada K1, saya tak tolak markah. Saya bagi 3. If you are not consistent, you minus lah 2 marks. Let's say K1 here, you put K1X in, but here no K1. Or here no K1, here you put K1. And here also K1. Pandai-pandai lah, minus 1 ke sekali lah, okay? Korang rasa macam mana? Nak bagi kosong ke? Macam tu lah. Boleh depression mark ni. Memang pun, lecturer dah depression awal dah. Okay, saya nak transfer some of the depression to you guys. Okay, so some of you confused. Some of you thought X in as part of the variable X1, X2, X3. So they put a 4x4 matrix. Macam tu kosong terus. Ni kan game. Game memang pun. Bengong. Alright. So we move on to the next question. So question C, given that M1 equals 1 kg, M2 equals 1 kg, B1 equals B2 equals 1 kg per second, K1 equals K2 equals minus 1 kg per second square, and K3 equals 0. So show that ni, some of you, even though you get negative because no K1, so what happens is that korang tak confident, okay? Some of you are not confident because you get negative here, but the answer given is positive. So you remove the negative. I minus 1 mark because you are not confident of yourself. Okay, if you put negative, I didn't deduct any mark, okay? So here, the first 3 marks will be to write in terms of determinant. So if you write x3 equals determinant of this matrix, And then you substitute K1 X in 0, 0 divided by the determinant of the previous matrix. So if you write this in full, okay, not with garrison and boxes. So if you write like this, you get 3 marks. So let's say from question A, B, you already have X in. So you write X in only. You get 3 marks as well, okay? Some of you didn't write in terms of determinant, but I think only one of you, I don't know which section, he or she actually calculates tak tahu guna cara apa, tapi macam valid cara dia. So the method is valid. Very long calculation and then end up with X3 over X in. Okay. I give him or her 5 marks. Okay. And some of you calculate the determinant separately. Let's say calculate this separately and then calculate this separately. And then write the products. Okay. So if you show the calculation separately and clearly, I give you 3 marks. Okay, 3 marks and plus 2 marks for final answer. So for final answer, 2 marks will be 1 mark if you substitute correctly. Substitute the value given in the question. Some of you substitute wrongly. Okay, for example, like it's minus K2. Some of you put, so K2 is minus 1. Some of you rasa pelik, it's minus 1. So you put this as minus 1 instead of 1, supposed to be 1. So if you substitute wrongly, you get minus 1 mark. And if you get final answer correct, you get 1 more mark. So let's say, for example, just now I said that some of you calculated but get negative. So if you get negative, you get 4 marks, okay? But if you get negative but you remove the negative because you are not confident, you minus 1 more mark, you get 3 only. Sub awal-awal boleh, okay? If you substitute before writing determinant, is acceptable. Okay, so for the last question, if X in equals E power of T, kalau jalan kerja untuk X3 tu belah atas tak tunjuk tapi belah bawah tunjuk macam mana? So belah atas macam saya cakap tadi. So let's say dekat sini awak tak tunjuk benda ni. Tapi awak tunjuk maybe X3 sama dengan something. Let's say satu jalan kira like a working flow. Saya akan tengok jalan kerja tu. Kalau macam tiba-tiba ada values, for example like you calculate this, X3 equals determinant, for example. And then kat bawah ni dah ada value dah, S5 minus something. Some of you actually show the separately, this determinant equals what, this determinant equals what. But some of you tak tunjuk jalan kira tu, dia terus dapat S5, for example, S5 minus S4, etc. But the top one you show working principle. So you get 2 marks here, okay, minus 1 mark lah. But if you show separately and then you combine them afterwards, you get 3 marks. Okay. Okay, so for question last, question C4. Apa C4, C2, okay. So X in equals E power of T. Determine time response X3. Yeah. Okay, so your X3 over X in is 1 divided by S4 minus 4S square. Yeah. 4S square minus S plus 2 minus S plus 2. Okay, so the first step is you are given X in equals E power of T. So you need to convert in terms of frequency. So X in equals 1 S minus 1. So if you write this, you get 1 mark. And then you write X3 equals 1 over S minus 1 times S power 4 minus 4S square minus S plus 2. Okay, and then you factorize, okay? So factorize, and then write in terms of ABC, means you are trying to find the values for partial fraction. So A over S minus 1 plus, so here you get S minus 2 plus CS plus 1, and then you get a remaining values. Okay, so if you factorize these two, you'll get a remainder of S square plus 1 plus S minus 2. So here you can further factorize using calculator lah. Okay, so you can use a quadratic equation b square minus plus minus square root of, bukan b square, minus b minus 4ac 2a. Okay, so some of you, I think very few, maybe 1 or 2 that use cosine and sine, maybe like method, partial fraction method number 2. Okay, acceptable, but you can actually can factorize this, so you get the values in decimal places. Okay, decimal point. So here you will get minus 1 plus minus square root of 5 divided by 2. Okay, so you can write D divided by S minus minus 1 plus minus square root 5, plus square root of 5 over 2, and then plus E S minus minus 1 minus square root 5 over 2. Okay, so if you let's say if you write these three only, I give you 1 mark. Okay, meaning that you know you are going to do partial fraction expansion, but you are not sure about these two. So if you write only this section here, you get 1 mark. And then if you attempt to calculate A, B, and C, so if you manage to calculate A, B, C, I give you 2 more marks, 1 or 2. Okay. Some of you doesn't calculate at all. Okay, so I give you 2 marks from this and marks from separating the fractions. So here A, B, C is so B is 1 over 15. A is minus half, and C is minus 1 over 6. Okay, actually I didn't look at the values. Okay, as long as you get A, B, C, some values, I give you 1 mark. Okay, Doktor, untuk A, B, C attempt tapi number salah, dapat 1 markah. Okay, walaupun number dia salah, if you get this number wrong, I still give you 1 mark. Okay, meaning that you get this 1 mark, 1 mark for separating the fraction, and 1 mark for attempting to calculate ABC. Some of you even attempt to inverse the fraction into time response, okay? Meaning that calculate x3t equals, let's say, 1/2 minus 1/2 e power of t. Some of you calculate this, but for the first three only, maybe like 115 e to t minus 1/6 e minus t, and then belakang tak tahu. So if you attempt this, you get 1 more mark, okay? So this one is 1 mark for ABC, for determine ABC. 1 more mark for attempting to find the inverse, okay? Find the inverse Laplace transform. And if you manage to calculate this, the two remaining D and E, you get 1 more mark, okay? So overall, 5 marks, okay? 1 mark for X in terms of frequency, 1 mark for separating the fraction, half only also 1 mark, 1 mark for finding ABC. Even though the values is wrong, I give you 1 mark. And 1 mark for attempting to find the inverse. Even though halfway, also 1 mark. And 1 mark for finding the remaining two, D and E. Okay. So D and E kira sendirilah berapa tak value dia. 13. I think D is 13.09. E is 1.91. Okay. All right, that's all for quizzes for your midterm test. Okay, any question before we end our session? So I want you to mark yourself and give your result, your marks, and then tomorrow we will discuss mock test and also maybe quiz number 9, and then compile all of them together and email. Okay, email to me. Okay, ada soalan tadi? Siapakah? Dah ke pergi toilet? Okay, so that's it for today. So thank you very much, and we see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Bye. Thank you.